Justice League issue 75. Joshua Williamson writing with Rafa Sandoval on the art. And I think the key thing here is that if you didn't read the last Williamson mini, which was Justice League Incarnate.
Yes.
Yes, there was that one.
Yeah, because there was also Infinite Frontier, and I was getting all the eyes confused. So yes.
Yes, Frontier was before, yeah.
Right.
So this basically falls straight on from that. Like, the first couple of pages, like, okay, all the Justice League are disappearing. They've been teleported somewhere all of a sudden. But then you realize they're going to Justice League Incarnate because of what's happened in that book. And so if you didn't read that, they did a recap. It, like, President Superman does a quick, here's what's went down, Superman. This is what you need to know. But
Dr. Batman is dead. Like, okay, we're jumping right in. Some nice moments with the Justice League and the JLI, or the Justice League Incarnate, like with Captain Carrot, and stuff. But yeah, this was very underwhelming. I'll just get out there quick. And I came in with lower expectations, but being a big Williamson fan and liking most of Justice League Incarnate, this kind of just felt like a placeholder.
It was a little bit weird because I felt the death itself of the Justice League members was kind of just sudden, and I don't know why Pariah suddenly has the power to just go blah with his hand. And
here's my thing: what's the point of assembling all of these baddies, right? Like Doomsday and Darkseid, and like these are Justice League, like, having to come together and fight. You put them all, like Necron, you put them all on one team, and the Justice League still just handles them. And then it turns out that they're not even the ones that kill the Justice League. It's Pariah with the hand wave.
Yeah,
it's
well,
just wonky.
They make a point that they're not really fighting like themselves because they're basically being puppeted. So, that Superman points out this is not how Darkseid normally fights. He's not usually just this much of a simple brute kind of thing.
Right, but then, to me, looking at this storytelling wise, besides getting the cool shot of them all there and this, the sense of dread, why assemble that group and set them against the Justice League?
I have to assume that it's beyond this, though. It's just for the actual event itself. Okay. It's not just for this.
I hope so. I hope that's what it's for.
That was my assumption, because
here they're underutilized too for such the build that it led to Incarnate.
If they were built for just this, then yeah, it's kind of an underwhelming disappointment. But I'm assuming there's going to be more with them being the enforcers for the Great Darkness in the actual Dark Crisis.
Okay, I hope so.
I mean, I do think there's a couple of good moments. I actually think, because I thought they were all going to die one by one in different ways, because Green Arrow dies first, and he has this great, kind of a good death actually, where he has this really badass moment where Pariah is powering up his machine and Oliver says, I'm just about to save the day, and he fires an arrow that goes through and past all the fights that are going on. So you got Superman fighting Darkseid, and you got Batman fighting whoever, Wonder Woman's fighting Ares, and the arrow just sort of goes through them all and hits the device, Pariah's thing, I can't remember what it's called, and his antimatter something, and it blows it up. And it's like, Oliver was just a bit of a badass and was the one that saved the day because no one was paying attention to him. And then he dies instantly, and it's like, Black Canary's holding him in her arms. I was like, that was nice. He got this great big heroic moment before he dies. And then I expected, who's going to be next? But then in one page, the entire Trinity get taken out by Pariah, by him just sort of aiming his hand at them because he's got that power now.
And blinking them out of existence.
Yeah, because it's sort of this page where it's a series of little panels with their faces sort of going more and more old as if their skin's withering, and then eventually it's more, almost a skeleton-like kind of thing.
Do you know what it reminded me of?
Go on.
Barry's death in Crisis.
Oh, it is a bit like that, actually, yeah. Probably intentionally so.
Right, and the fact that they're all looking for Barry, right, and Barry's in that, we know where he's at in that, perfect world. And the fact that Pariah just wants everybody to be happy, that's what he keeps saying. It makes me wonder if this is them, like, being... Because Barry ended up going into the Speed Force like all Flashes do, right? So it makes me wonder if they're being sent to somewhere similar. That's not quite a planet, right? That's like a something in between. And that's eventually how, because we all know that death's an open door, especially when you have characters this big. Um, you know, I don't think they're going to the other realm. Like Wonder Woman already escaped that.
It's worth mentioning as well that the Justice League Incarnate all get killed in the same manner. The book just it's just kind of funny. It's called The Death of Justice League. I'm like, hey, Justice League Incarnate got killed as well.
They're Justice League as well.
Spectre's being controlled by the Great Darkness as well. I think Black Adam's got a couple of, because Black Adam's like the last person standing and has a good moment with Pariah where he finally says Shazam, and I like the build up to that, and then the lightning strike of the next page. There's a couple of good little moments of that. But eventually, we go back to the Hall of Justice, and Wally's there with Naomi, Detective Chimp, Firestorm. John shows up. And they're like, hey, what happened to all the Justice League members? And then Black Adam crashes through the roof and says the Justice League are dead. And that's kind of your big cliffhanger for Get Out of Dark. So, I mean, this issue was effectively just, they get teleported to Justice League Incarnate. Oh, the Great Darkness thing's happening. We have to go there right now. They all go. They get their asses kicked by the team of villains, but mainly just Pariah, and get killed. And Black Adam's going to, so we're going to start the event with the Justice League are dead. It's up to these, and I'm excited for this other generation of heroes having to solve the problems and having to do the fight. But
that's the big selling point for me. So people are like, "Oh, if this is indicative of what it's going to be like," and I'm like, "Well, this is just taking the Justice League off the board, so like the legacy characters can have their crisis." And if that's what this is, I'm okay with that. Being that I love the concept of DC as a whole, and the whole how we have this next generation of heroes and. It fits in line with the story that Williamson was telling through Infinite Frontier, that the next generation is waiting. And so if this is their moment and this is their big story, I really appreciate all that, because this last page, right, is, you have John, Wally, and Naomi, all legacy characters in their own way. And then also it's notable, this is the first time Naomi's been written by someone that's not Bendis. That at least I can think of.
That's probably true. Yeah.
And knowing that Bendis and Williamson, like that's one of his mentors, Bendis is Williamson's. I think that's pretty cool. And that's that adds to the story as well.
I mean, it had to happen eventually, because unless Bendis killed her when he was leaving.
Right. Well, no, I know, but like being that Williamson's the first person that gets to do that in a story about legacy, taking character from your mentor. And being able to use her in a story, even if this is the only part that she shows up in, him wanting to include her in the Justice League scene.
Yeah, for the record, I don't think this is necessarily a bad issue. I think it's just a really kind of just okay issue. It's it's got a couple nice moments. The art's pretty good from Sandoval, but it's also a kind of generic. And the deaths don't feel that they're big enough. It feels very sudden, and not in a shocking way, just in more of a. Oh, that's it. That's that. Just like that. Okay.
And it didn't help that like creators like it probably wasn't Williamson himself, but like I felt like the vibe around this was like, oh yeah, it's gonna blow your minds, and we're like, well, no, he has overpromised and underdelivered. You never want to do that.
Yeah, it largely feels a little bit of been here, done this. Like, this doesn't feel special in any way because we've done crises before. This just feels.
Right. Yeah, but it's a very readable issue. Like and it is a good lead-in to Dark Crisis, because where it leaves you, like that image of a wounded Black Adam, crashing into the Hall of Justice, that feels like the start of a Crisis event.
Yeah, and like I say, the selling point for me is it's the younger generation having to be the ones to save the day. So I hope it stays true to that, and I'll be happy. Did you notice a nice little touch at the start when Superman's teleported away? He's in full uniform, and he seems to be normal. But he does say he's orbiting Warworld, and so I think that's a little hint that this is set after the end of that story. Is that
a little bit? Yeah,
the Warworld does exist in some form, but what form? Maybe it's just like a haven now for like the Kryptonians. Maybe this is their new planet, effectively.
Right, for the Thalosians.
Yeah, it's like I don't really have any hot takes for it, because it's just kind of by the numbers as far as this, which is maybe really disappointing to some people, which is fair.
Ollie getting completely obliterated by Doomsday kind of made me laugh a little bit, just because it feels like a cartoon.
Well, Well, yeah, there is a point actually where he's like dodging Doomsday, and I'm like, that's Doomsday. You have no hope against Doomsday, Oliver.
Yeah.
Run.
Yeah. And then he just gets completely trounced.
Yeah, there is a nice little moment actually that I did enjoy where Darkseid kind of like snaps out of it and is himself for like a moment.
Yeah, and he's pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's going to be a reckoning for the Great Darkness.
Yeah, I do like the idea that maybe towards the end of the Dark Crisis, if they free all the villains, like they may all turn around and say, "Well, we're taking you out first."
Also, did we figure out that the one we couldn't figure out is Eclipso? Because seeing Eclipso pop up on here, I didn't remember him from before from the shadows.
I don't think we were confused by Eclipso.
Okay, because remember there was one that we couldn't figure out who it might be. And I can't remember which one it was, because we figured Necron and Ares, but there was one kind of in the back that were like, who could that be? So I thought maybe that was Eclipso, but I figured I would have picked up on Eclipso.
I'd have to go back and check again.
Yeah,
but to that original image, but there was no one in this that I was surprised to see. So
I was just like, oh yeah, Eclipso's there. But I figured I would have been a lot more excited had I recognized his, Also, can we talk about Jon Stewart and his Green Lantern-y?
I assume that's happened in his book.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, this is what I'm missing. Okay.
I'll be honest, seeing him with that weird green glow, not the regular Green Lantern glow, but he's got this different thing going on. It was really like, you know what? I think I made the right choice dropping that book.
He's very much like, remember when Kyle became Ion?
Yeah, Ion vibes. He
emanated the green from his. This is like Jon Stewart's Ion, and but I do like that page where he creates a Justice League out of Green Lantern energy, and I feel like that was just an excuse for Sandoval to be able to draw different characters, and it works because that page looks great, But you got Deadman and Hal and Cyborg, Plastic Man, just characters that you normally wouldn't get to see in something like this. I mean, there's no reason why Hal can't. Still don't know what that.
Yeah, I would say Hal's not someone you would normally see in this. It's just, if anything, it's more special that he's not here.
Right. So, but I think that's a really cool looking page. But like Sandoval's a decent level artist for something like this. So,
yeah.
But yeah.
All right, we had a fairly delightful conversation about why this is effectively a 6 out of 10. If Connor was here and he had read it, he'd be like, oh, it wasn't very good, it was this, it was that. I'm just not feeling it. I couldn't care about anything. That's my impression of Connor.
Wait, I thought Connor wasn't here. You need to shut up for a minute.
Let's see if I predicted your rating. Matt, what are you rating Justice League 75?
I'll be in a 6.5.
Oh, there you go. That was close.
You close?
Yeah. I'll give it... I could be swayed to the 0.5. I was going to give it a straight 6, I think. I think it's serviceable, it's perfectly readable, but there's nothing really special about it. The deaths don't feel that impactful, except Green Arrow's, who gets his big moment. Even if the actual getting swatted like a fly by Doomsday is a little bit funny.
Yeah. It's just the angles at which his legs go. It feels like Wile E. Coyote to me. But, yeah, that's all.